My wife left me to find herself, and now thinks she can just come back as if nothing happened. After waiting a month, hoping she would return, I went to a lawyer. The lawyer told me there wasn't much I could do at that moment, except change the beneficiaries on my retirement accounts and life insurance, ensuring that if I die, she gets nothing. While she's off on her adventures, I'm left dealing with everything. Since it was only a month, there wasn't a way to serve her with divorce papers, so my lawyer advised me to keep paying the mortgage and car loans. Selling joint assets wasn't feasible due to the costs, and I didn't want to ruin my credit by letting the car get repossessed. But I can't sell it either since her name is on the title. She sends random texts and posts sporadically on Instagram, with the comments turned off, of course. I want to block her so badly, but my lawyer advised keeping a communication channel open that doesn't involve the kids. Her latest post was from Hawaii, where she wrote about what a great husband I am for letting her take the trip. Meanwhile, I'm struggling to pay 2 car loans, a mortgage, household bills, and insurance. I have no savings and pray there are no emergencies, while she's out living it up. It's unbelievable what she's doing to me. I supported her through so much, like helping care for her mom for 4 years. And when her mom moved into a memory care home, I was there for her when she fell apart. And now, she repays me by walking away. I'll never get to take a trip like that, and I've had to delay my retirement. The only thing keeping me sane is that the kids are all upset with her, but I know they'll forgive her eventually. I'm not naive. I know her. She looks great and has no problem finding men. I even texted her asking if she's sleeping around. A week later, she replied saying she wasn't, but I just rolled my eyes at that. I'm sitting here drinking alone on a Friday night while she's probably out on a beach somewhere, enjoying life. I know she's convinced that when she comes back, our marriage will somehow continue. She's had a few conversations with our daughter and believes I'll just understand and forgive her. She only hears what she wants. When I asked her for an address to serve the divorce papers, she responded with, "We'll work it out when I come home." Yeah, right. My daughter has tried to tell her about the pain she's causing, but her response is that she only has 5 to 10 years before dementia sets in. There's no guarantee she'll even develop dementia, but shouldn't she be spending this time with her family? A month has passed, and I'm feeling more positive, especially now that the financial situation is becoming more manageable. I'm basically running up debt that I'll cover when I sell the house, even after legal fees. I've got another 6 to 8 months before money becomes a serious concern, assuming nothing major happens. A friend's wife gave me solid advice. Don't go from being a hero to a villain in your kids' eyes. How I speak about and treat my wife will shape my future relationship with them. I don't care about her anymore, but I don't want to turn her into a sympathetic figure or risk pushing the kids away from both of us. I followed up with my lawyer, and she said we'd ensure my wife pays back the savings she took by reducing her share of the assets. Any asset division will include those savings, and she'll also need to repay the money I spent maintaining the household while she's been gone. Thankfully, there's plenty of equity in her share of the house and retirement plans to cover that. The lawyer also said that, after nearly 25 years of marriage, our finances are so intertwined that my wife will still get some share of the assets. Best case scenario, she agrees to the divorce terms. It's relatively quick and affordable to handle. But if I go another route, things get complicated and expensive. My lawyer gave me several options and an idea of the costs involved, so I decided to mostly wait. I got a couple of credit cards with promotional rates for purchases and balance transfers, which gives me some breathing room and helps me conserve cash. I'll pay them off when I sell the house. Now that my finances are less stressful, I'm actually starting to enjoy her being gone. I have the freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want. I don't have to cook, clean, or take care of anyone. The house is quiet, something I haven't experienced in a long time. I loved my wife, but her mental health issues put a strain on our marriage. Overall, it was worth it, until now. In the first month after she left, I kept expecting her to be there when I came home, or I'd think she was at the door if I heard noises. I even checked the doorbell camera obsessively. I'm not eager for her return, but it's inevitable. When she does come back, I'll have to deal with her, the divorce, preparing the house for sale, dividing our belongings, and finding a new place to live. I'm hoping she'll stay away until after New Year's, but my daughter thinks her mom will be back for Christmas, either to visit or to stay. My lawyer will have the papers ready, and hopefully she'll agree to the terms and continue her travels. Some people have given me great advice. One person suggested selling or renting the house, but that's not practical right now. The house needs repairs before it's ready to sell or rent, and I still need a place to live. The costs of living elsewhere and storing my belongings wouldn't be worth it. Plus, my kids' rooms are still full of their stuff, and I don't want to go through the hassle of clearing everything out. Another piece of helpful advice was to get a home equity line of credit. I didn't realize I could get one without needing both our names on it. If I need more money in the short term, I can use that option. In the meantime, the promotional rates on the credit cards are helping. Using credit cards was cheaper and easier than getting a HELOC, and serving my wife divorce papers or pursuing a divorce in absentia is something I might eventually need to do. However, the legal fees for that kind of process skyrocket, so I'm okay with waiting for now. Someone suggested I check the phone bill to track where she's been and where she might go. I did, and noticed she only posts on social media after leaving a place. For example, when she posted about being in Hawaii, her call history showed the call originated in Los Angeles that day. When she posted about a cruise, I figured out the dates and thought I could serve her papers at the port. But it turned out the cruise had ended a couple of days before she posted. She even tried to add international calling to her line, but I blocked it. Afterward, she removed her phone from our account. She told her family she wouldn't be home for Thanksgiving, but nobody informed her that my daughter and I would be spending Thanksgiving with her family. She'll eventually see the social media posts of us having a good time without her. Someone asked if she's just going to blow through all the money and then expect me to take care of her when she develops dementia. Honestly, knowing her, that seems to be her plan. But it's definitely not mine. Months later, in mid-December, my wife texted me saying she'd be home for Christmas. I told her my daughter and I would be at my brother's, and she wasn't welcome. I said I'd leave her car in the driveway and the key fob in the backyard, but she wasn't allowed in the house unless I was there. She no longer had keys to get in anyway. She ended up spending Christmas with her sister. When we returned, I met with her, but I decided not to be confrontational. I didn't want to give her the satisfaction of thinking I cared enough to be angry. She seemed caught off guard by how detached I was. I could tell it bothered her that I didn't show much emotion, not even anger. I just wanted her to agree to a divorce. This is a summary of several meetings, some with and some without our daughter. My daughter isn't ready to meet with her mom alone yet. I asked my wife why she left without telling anyone. She said she didn't want to wait a year, didn't want anyone to talk her out of it, and didn't want to work anymore. She also said she left before her mental health worsened, but I believe the main reason was that she didn't want me to stop her from taking the money. She knew I'd handle everything with the kids and the house. We had been planning to travel in the summer of 2024 for a few reasons. Packing everything and getting the house ready to sell was going to take a lot of effort. We also wanted to make sure our daughter graduated from college, found a job, and settled in before we left. We wanted to have enough money when we returned, since we wouldn't have a house, cars, or jobs, and it might take months to find work and a new place to live. The goal was to avoid any stress or mess when we got back. At some point during our planning, she started doubting if she wanted to return to our old life. She didn't want to work full-time or buy a house and stay in one place after the trip. She was unsure of what she wanted, but didn't think she could figure it out by talking to me. I told her that's why we were planning the trip, to figure those things out together and decide what we wanted for the next chapter of our lives. I asked why she didn't just get a divorce before she left. That way, she wouldn't have had to do this behind our backs, and she could have taken her share of the money without dipping into our joint savings. She claimed she didn't want a divorce, She wanted us to live whatever life she figured out. I told her that's not how marriage works. One person can't make all the decisions for both. Through conversations with our daughter, her family, and my texts and voicemails, she eventually realized this. I might never forgive her, and she was right about that, so she'll have to start imagining a future without me. I half expected her to say something ridiculous, like blowing all her money living in a van and making travel vlogs, or that she met some guy and needed to wire him money to open an ice cream shop in Alaska. Instead, she told me she wants to be a digital nomad, working part-time remotely and living in different places. She even tried to convince me to join her, but I'll never be able to trust her again, and, honestly, I don't love her anymore. Traveling like that for a few years doesn't sound terrible, but she doesn't have a job or any work lined up. She's not in her 20s anymore, and that lifestyle will get old quickly. No close friends, no family. I want her to make it work, though, so she won't come back trying to reinsert herself into our lives. As for the kids, our son wouldn't have seen us during this time anyway, since he's deployed. He only responds to her with short texts. He told me she wanted to see him, but he said he was too busy and couldn't get away, which is an easy excuse since he's living in the barracks. My daughter, on the other hand, has completely stopped talking and texting her. Initially, she was worried, but that turned into anger once she realized her mom wasn't having a mental breakdown. She was just being selfish. If her mom were around, they might eventually work through it. But right now, my only concern is that my daughter is happy. Whatever she decides, I'll support her. In the end, my wife spent about half of the money we had saved. I think she realized she needed to sort things out before she runs out of money completely. Friends have asked me if she's been with anyone else, but I didn't bother asking because I don't care. Asking would imply I still wanted her back, or that it mattered. Even though I didn't ask, she claims. She didn't say for sure, and I'm not sure if she's lying or just saying that to avoid giving the kids another reason to be mad at her. A friend asked if she feels bad about what she put us through. She claims she does and wishes she had handled things differently, saying that getting away and figuring herself out was the best decision for her. I told her she was just being selfish. When she first left, we were worried something might happen to her and we'd never see her again. She's always been self-centered. I told her she's taking the easy way out and leaving everyone else to deal with the hard parts. If she gets sick, the kids will take care of her. If she goes broke, she'll live with family. Abandon everyone, and they'll forgive her. She seems to think her siblings and our kids will let her live with them, just like we let her mom live with us. But I'm not so sure. When she imagines her future, I'm sure she pictures the kids being there, but they might not be. Not in the same way as before. Despite how it may sound, I'm actually pretty happy with how things turned out. Our divorce isn't finalized yet, but we've agreed on the major things. We'll sell the house, split the retirement and the profits from the sale, and figure out how to repay the money she took and what I spent maintaining the household. I got most of what I wanted from the settlement, and soon she'll be mostly out of my life. I won't have to pay alimony, and since she's choosing to make significantly less money than before, I won't be forced to support her. That would have been a real blow. She's not my responsibility anymore, and if she does get sick or go broke, I won't have to take care of her. With all that behind me, I figured I'd start dating again. I hadn't realized that, as a 50-year-old man with grown kids, a good job, and in decent shape, I'd be considered a catch. I'm not exactly fighting women off, but there's been a lot more interest than I expected. It's been nice meeting new people. I've crunched the numbers, and I'll be in a good place financially once everything is settled and I only have to support myself. This isn't where I imagined I'd be at 50, going through a divorce and using writing as therapy, but I'm happier now than I've been in a long time. I'm even planning a little vacation for myself. Just to clarify, I'm not looking for anyone younger than 30 to 35, and I'm not interested in someone who has or wants kids. There's nothing wrong with that, but I've already raised mine. Anyway, thanks for listening.